Usually we do our best to make sure that our program does not crash. Today we are going to do the exact opposite, force it to crash and display an error message. Let's talk about how we do that and maybe more importantly, why. I will use the example from the named arguments video. It's a pretty cool video which you should check out if you haven't already. Here we have a situation where we need the argument that we send in to be a table. If one were to forget that and simply pass in values, that would lead to the program crashing. When it crashes, it will display an error message, which would state that it attempted to index a local value settings, a number value. It might not be instantly obvious what the problem is, and there are other cases where the error message will be even more vague and difficult to understand. To make our lives easier, we can use the assert function. It takes two arguments. First, an evaluation, which when it does not evaluate to true, will crash the program and display the error message, which is the second argument. In this case, I will use the type function, which will return the type of the variable as a string, and compare the result of that to the string table. In other words, we check and make sure that the settings argument is indeed a table. If it is not, then we want to display a custom error message. I will write error, table expected, got, and concatenate that with the type of the argument. If we run the program, you can see that it crashes and displays our custom error message, letting us know that the problem is the fact that we did not provide a table. There are more use cases for assert apart from providing a more clear error message. We can, for example, use it to make sure that specific logic errors cause the program to crash. Logic errors are errors which normally won't crash your game, only make it function in an unintended way. Let's say, for example, that you have an area where your game takes place. A mistake in your code sets a character to position -100 instead of 100. This may be very difficult to debug. The game runs perfectly, but your character is nowhere to be seen. To prevent this, we could add an assert which checks that the x value is greater than 0. If it is not, then we want the game to crash and display an error message which states that the x value cannot be negative. Now we can attempt to pass in a negative value and run the program. And as you can see, the game now crashes and displays our error message. Let's look at another function which can be used in a similar way as the assert function, and that function is called error. This is useful for situations where if your code reaches a specific place, then something has gone terribly wrong and you want the program to crash. You could, for example, have a function which sets the direction of a character. It takes an argument, direction, which is supposed to be either left or right. Anything else is not valid and would indicate that there is a mistake somewhere in the code. We can add an if statement for left and then an else if for right. Finally, we can add an else, which will catch everything which is not left or right. Here we can add an error, which takes one argument, the custom error message which we wish to display. I will let us know that the direction needs to be either left or right, and then let us know what we actually passed in to help with the debugging. If I now try to pass in up and run the program, you can see that it crashes, informing us what went wrong in a very clear way. It is human to make mistakes. Some people watch the entire video without liking, subscribing, or joining our Discord server. The important thing is that you deal with those errors. Using assert and error are two ways to help you make your code more safe and sound.